things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. So during the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts. But they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. So roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. And I have my doubts. So I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening, Watchmen and Watchwomen of Patreon and YouTube. Turn the audio down a little bit here. Man, I am telling you. Sorry, I just got done grabbing my coffee and went into the restroom and all that good stuff. And having my usual coughing fit right before. So anyway, let's see here. Trying to think of where I want to start. I got good news. Really good news. 1 second. All right. So the shed is on its way. I mean, like actually on its way. Um, so we got shipping notification the other day, and then I finally, after a couple of days, I finally seen it pop up and start moving. So it's on its way. They're saying Friday is when I'm supposed to get it. So, um, anyway, can't wait. I'm going to be doing a little bit of content here coming up. Two things. Number one, I've got to get prepped for the shed to get here. So I need to get the outside cleaned up where I'm going to put it. So I'm probably going to make some content when I do that. And then I am going to do a video of actually making edibles. So I figured that'd be pretty cool. That might be a Patreon thing. I don't know. We'll see. I might cut out 2 videos. I might do a in-depth one on Patreon and do one just kind of a quick through on YouTube. We'll see. Anyway, can't wait. I can't wait to get that shed here so I can get everything opened up and we can go to town on other projects. So this shed's going to be a fun project in and of itself, I have a feeling. So I just can't wait till it gets here. So trying to think if there's any more updates. I mean, that was the big thing. Waiting on that. And then, like I said, I can get started on other stuff. That's going to be a big project because it's not just putting a shed together. Then it's getting everything moved around and hopefully somewhat organized in the process of that. And then it's setting this closet up in here. So, which is going to be a whole another project. So, getting it set up correctly, getting it stocked up, and going from there. So, and I don't have everything all planned out to a T. So, it's going to be a matter of just doing it. Trying to think. There was anything else? I know I wasn't here Thursday. I'm telling you, this weather has been tearing me a new one. Hopefully, we're done with the stupid, crazy barometric swings like we had. I'm hoping, because I think, pretty sure that's what it is that's tore the hell out of me. So, anyway, can't think of really anything else. I didn't have a subject in particular, because I'm just repeating myself over and over. I don't know really how many more ways, how many more times I can tell people, get ready. The writing is literally on the wall, right in front of us. Right in front of us. And whether or not we listen to it is totally up to us. I do not believe relations are just going to magically get better between us and these other nations. Not going to happen. If you take a peek at the global situation here, now, again, the world could be a stage, but it doesn't matter. That's all semantics. The world could be a stage, and all these could fall under the category of rumors of war, and it still wouldn't make a damn bit of difference for you. You would still have the same challenges you would have the same threats. So the only thing is that would complicate the situation even more. So that would that would give you a major home team disadvantage to find out that your home team wasn't batting on your side. Um, but anyway, uh, I think we're about to see a bunch of crazy stuff go down. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend to act like I know the ins and outs of it, because none of us completely do. Pardon me. But like I say, whether or not this is truly war or falls under rumors of war, um, it still stays the same for you. So, especially in the short term. Because if they start trading punches intercontinentally, things could get a little crazy. So, and that could come in many forms, by the way. Pardon me, hang on. Sinuses. Fun. And I suppose probably I have allergies now. I never used to. I didn't deal with that crap until I quit smoking, so go figure. I never had all this drainage crap until I quit smoking. Now, I would in the morning, a little bit. I'd hack it up, it would be gone, and that would be it. It would be gone the rest of the day. Whatever the hell I'm dealing with now is a totally different story and didn't show its ugly head until I quit smoking. So, go figure. Trying to think if there's any one particular thing. I know one thing really stood out today, and it's the image that I used for the thumbnail. So basically, what it sounds like is Russia has done the same thing that the United States has done as far as its foreign agents list. And while that may not sound like a big deal, diplomatically, things are starting to get pretty ugly between the United States and Russia. You really do not get any colder than what it is right now. I don't see. It's a different cold, if you will, than previously with the USSR. A different cold. But I think that we are actually in a more serious, a more dire situation today, believe it or not, than what we were then. Now, with the changes, many in technology since the first Cold War, the landscape changes a little bit. Back then, there was a lot that hung on each and every word of all the, important dignitaries, the president, secretary of defense, um, other nations, when there was like a press release or something like that, a press conference or what have you, other nations would hang on every word. Because a lot of times, and it's true today, a lot of times that was intended as a message to other nations. Um, the uh, the messages that they are starting to send now, not very good. Um, it's almost as if they've already agreed to combat. Almost. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. Um, but it almost seems like they've already agreed to combat and now they're just discussing the terms. Not funny, but I mean that's kind of what I see. Now, I know that they have pulled back in Ukraine, but I don't think that that's something to give much credence. I'm sure much equipment was left, and I'm sure plenty of people that we're not privy to know about was left as well, with many, many, many more ready to respond at a moment's notice. So, believe me, there were reasons why they did what they did, and they are in a much more secure situation now as a result of them doing that than what they were previously. So this kind of taking a step back is merely aesthetic. That's all it is. It's merely aesthetic. Um, we'll see. There's a lot of theories floating around. Again, I can't even begin to act like I'm real knowledgeable about all the geopolitics, especially about all these different areas. But what I can tell you is that things are getting tense. I heard something, pardon me, about China again today, and I can't remember what it was, but it had something to do with, I guess, them sending more ships to the South China Sea. So, um, it kind of feels eerie right now because there's not a whole lot that's really coming out. There's a little communication back and forth, like, from different nations and stuff, but I don't know. It seems kind of still, kind of an awkward still, almost kind of like the still before a tornado. And I hope that analogy is nowhere near correct. Um, but that's almost kind of like how it feels. So, like I said, there's a little bit going back and forth, but there's nothing too major um, yet. I have a feeling that's going to change quick enough. I find it very interesting that missile made it from Syria to Israel undetected. And I wonder if it's a precursor. Now this is one thing. Now there was I believe it was a tanker, Iranian tanker that was attacked, and Iran, and this is going to be in the headlines, has said today, they more or less said they were going to retaliate, and assuming that it was Iran that was behind this latest missile attempt that apparently evaded the Iron Dome, makes me wonder if there's another one inbound, pun intended. How many times are they gonna miss? That would be crazy. And I have to look to the good book, right? Because I just have to. And I'm constantly, one of the things that sticks in the back of my head is about Damascus being destroyed. And realize that's like can happen in the blink of an eye. And if there's something launched from, say, the Damascus region, say something with a nuclear payload, and happens to strike within the border of Israel somewhere, you can bet your butt that Damascus is nothing but a parking lot. And again, that's a blink of an eye. That can be kicked off in the blink of an eye. So things are very insane. So I don't know. It may be in the headlines, and I may just not be registering, but I don't really know much more on Iran and them enriching the uranium up to 60%. The last I knew, they were doing it, and they had successfully done it, and they were continuing to do so. I know there was a meeting, or meetings, there was pause in those talks. And last I knew, they're still at a pause. So, that's the latest that I am aware of on that front. Again, that this whole situation, meaning life, is very unbalanced right now. That's not the right word, but I don't want to keep using words like volatile. All that's the perfect word. It's not going to take much. Not going to take much. Now, I didn't speak much to the domestic issues that we have going on. I'm kind of still, when it comes to the Derek Chauvin trial and all the protests and all that leading up to it, and I'm still trying to, I think I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, to be honest. And I think maybe many others are too. But luckily, we're not seeing too much insanity. Now, I do want to speak to this. This is something I did want to speak to. Um, so obviously there was another shooting, a young 16-year-old, and we've talked about it here before. I believe she was 16. I know some articles said 15, some say 16. And it's one of those cases, and it seems to never fail that we have one of these right at the end or right around the end of a trial for shooting. Never fails. And what it is a officer involved shooting that is a good call. But and when I say good call, understand, man, there is nothing good that comes out of that. Nothing good comes out of that at all. But we have to be realistic. And I see this happening every single time. There'll be another shooting, officer involved shooting. And it will be one that there really is no question. But yeah, you'll get people out there screaming loud and proud that it was totally unjustified and this, that, and the other thing. Man, there is not many times you will hear me say this, and I can assure you that. But I actually feel for the officer in that case. Absolutely. Because I know damn well he didn't get up that morning with intention whatsoever for that to happen. Nope. He, from what I could see, did everything to the best of his ability. Man, people can pick a situation to death, and I don't often stand up for the side of law enforcement, and Lord forbid you all should know that. But I've watched the footage, and he rolled up, and there was no time for him to even figure out who was who and what was going on exactly or anything like that. He had literally just rolled up, got out of his car, started to approach the situation, was trying to assess it and find out who was who and what was going on, when all he knows is some girl comes barreling at him, goes after one girl, then turns around and goes after another girl with a knife, and literally is mid-lunge to stab that other girl when that officer fired his weapon. That sucks. The whole deal sucks. And I got more to say to this because the reason the left are so upset, or the one thing they keep talking about, is how it was her I want to say her name's Micaiah, and the only reason I haven't been saying it is because I hate mispronouncing it. They're upset because allegedly she is the one that called. But what I don't believe these folks are stopping or slowing down enough to think is what information, what that officer had to deal with. And again, I don't normally stand up on the side of law enforcement. You all know that. There's a reason I don't. Because there's a lot of horseshit calls out there. I'm going to be straight up with you. This was not. In fact, I think he did about the best of a job as he could in the situation. He neutralized the threat. He didn't shoot anybody else in the process. He didn't shoot an innocent bystander in the process of neutralizing the threat. I mean, I know that sounds bad. I'm just being real with you. I don't know. I don't understand why the left can't see that officer did. What it is that we expect out of them. And no, that's not to kill people. It's to protect people. Now again, I don't know the situation that was going on there. I don't know, I've read and stuff like that. Apparently, there was, I guess, a couple of young adults that were over there that were former foster kids or something like that. There was apparently an argument over house chores or something like that. Apparently, this essentially was over the fact that a bed wasn't made or something. Is how this started. Who knows? But the officer only had what he had to work with when he pulled up on that scene. Had no idea who was who. And it's a really unfortunate situation. I called out early that that I was concerned that what happened was that it was a case that this young woman got more or less like a surge of courage or something like that, or felt safe to exact her revenge, whatever the case may be, and just wasn't thinking whatsoever when she acted out. Like, I mean, clearly that's the case, but I mean, it's an unfortunate situation. It's a bad thing all the way around. While I normally don't have this position on these situations, I'm here to tell you the truth, and I'm here to call it out as I see it, as it is. And this is just one of those situations. Bad situation. And I feel for the officer, because I guarantee you that officer did not have those intentions. Did not wake up that morning with that in mind. That officer, you can get a vibe, right? And Chauvin, for instance, gave a very bad vibe. And I think that vibe is probably part of what got him got. To be honest, right? To be real honest, he's had a bad vibe, and the officer involved in this incident doesn't. Just he seems like he'd be a decent guy. So we'll see. Sorry for droning on and on and on about that, but I've got a lot of friends on like social media, both on the right and the left, and I've seen a lot of rhetoric from the left, a lot, and it's like, and there's some things that just are dumb things. That's just the way it is. You have to own up for it. Anyway, got a lot of headlines. Figured we'd jump on into them and get them out of the way. I am just sore. Thank goodness the cool weather, I think it's done with for the year, I hope. Supposed to be like 80 tomorrow, 80 something tomorrow, I think. Got up to 69, or was supposed to get up to 69 today, so tomorrow's going to be considerably warmer. The next day is supposed to reach the 80s too, and then it's supposed to back down a little bit, but hopefully we're done with these cold fronts for the most part. I'm hoping. Anyway, I guess we'll just dive right on in. Like I said, we've got quite a few. There's quite a few headlines, but like I said, the serious movements, as far as serious movements, they're kind of slim at the time being. It's kind of eerily quiet. Let's see. Starting with headlines from Friday. Iowa prisoners monitored over being overdosed with up to 6 times the normal amount of Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. This makes me kind of question guinea pig? Question mark? I mean, Indian double mutant COVID-19 variant adds 55 infections in the UK as strain that evades immune system reaches Belgium. Clashes break out in Jerusalem as right-wing Jewish rally chants death to Arabs faces off with police. A U.S. military helicopter destroys landing pad during drill at UK hospital, forcing facility to divert emergency airlifts. At least 13 dead after fire breaks out in ICU ward of COVID-19 hospital near Mumbai, India. Again, this is Friday. A Texas woman who received Johnson & Johnson vaccine hospitalized with symptoms similar to blood clot cases that paused the rollout. Russia's gold and foreign currency reserves surged by over $3 billion in 1 week. China administers more than 210 million COVID-19 vaccines despite supply challenges. Bitcoin leads massive cryptocurrency market sell-off. Let's see. Hungary heads towards further reopening of economy as it approaches 40% inoculation rate. Sounds like a fire going on in town. 80 pounds of explosives used in gender reveal party prompts earthquake reports in New Hampshire town. Disposing of Fukushima's nuclear water is not Japanese housework. Countries have every right to claim compensation, China says. Relations between Russia and the U.S. have shifted from rivalry to confrontation and are back to Cold War level, says ex-President Medvedev. And I'm telling you, that's essentially what I've been saying. It's bad. It is really bad. But it's different. It's not the same. Not the same. Iran exports 500,000 barrels of oil per day despite U.S. sanctions. Western Australia puts Perth and Peel into 3-day lockdown after first local COVID-19 transmissions in 12 months. Again, this is Friday's news. Russian troops depart Crimea for home bases after exercises, potentially signaling an end to the border standoff with the Ukraine. We'll see. Japan to hold first large-scale military drills with the U.S. and France amid South China Sea tensions. Suing AstraZeneca won't solve vaccine supply problems, German health minister says. As many as possible, Berlin and 3 other German states make AstraZeneca vaccine available to all despite the federal warning. Major breakthrough as scientists turn plastic into fuel using 50% less energy and without adding CO2 to the atmosphere. Amid increased tensions in Donbass, Putin invites Ukrainian President Zelensky to Moscow for discussions on bilateral relations. Ridiculous and dangerous. Americans express alarm over social media snooping reportedly carried out by U.S. Postal Service. Dysfunctional U.S. economy propped up by countries supplying it with goods it can't produce itself, says Peter Schiff. Well, yeah. Still on Friday, by the way. Pakistan delays debate on expelling Paris envoy for a second time after suppressing anti-France protests. Beijing urges Washington to refrain from using religious freedom as a reason to interfere in China's internal affairs. Micaiah Bryant should be remembered as a loving teenager, her mother says. And that's kind of why I spoke a little bit on behalf of that situation. I don't believe that she was just this completely all horrible human being. I don't buy that for a second. I think it was a really, I just think it was a really, really bad deal. I really do. So, really bad deal. Let's see. U.S. may have the highest tax on capital gains in the world if Biden's plan comes true, investment strategist tells RT's boom bust. Doomsday delayed, scientists suggest humanity may be able to avoid climate catastrophes with quick, controversial interventions. Tokyo enters short and powerful state of emergency as Japan races to contain COVID outbreak before Olympics begin. French police officer fatally stabbed and suspect shot dead at the scene. Again, Friday's news. A good problem to have. There will be too much COVID-19 vaccine production in 2022, says Moderna boss. A jailed opposition figure, Alexei Navalny, announces end to hunger strike after seeing private doctors ahead of unauthorized protests. The Spanish interior minister and leftist leader received death threats and bullets sent in letters. Russian communists to open Stalin Center. Regional politician will fund large museum dedicated to life of infamous Soviet leader. American theocracy. Montana adopts law that allows people to challenge regulations that interfere with their religious beliefs. Capitol riot suspect busted after bragging to Bumble Match. I guess it's a dating app or something like that he bragged on and wound up busted. Brilliant guy. Let's see. Unjustified Downing Street blast French fishermen's blockade as disagreements over access to UK waters rolls on. EU data protection watchdog says facial recognition should be banned due to deep intrusion into people's private lives. 300 plus U.S. lawmakers sign a letter calling for unconditional security aid to Israel, causing mixed reaction. Safety of vaccine is paramount, Pfizer says regarding blood clot case in Australia amid lingering concerns over side effects. Israel reports no new COVID-19 deaths for the first time in 10 months. Again, we're on Friday's news still. Lack of real leadership. COVID-19 exposed massive problems in the EU and the West, Russian FM spokeswoman tells RT. EU to strike world's largest COVID-19 vaccine deal with Pfizer as WHO warns poorest countries still struggling for access. SpaceX launches 4 astronauts to ISS on reused Dragon capsule. But that was pretty cool. Greek prosecutors probe 68 cardiac arrest deaths in 1 year at a nursing home after relatives raise abuse fears. Again, still on Saturday. Global chip shortages to last 2 more years, says the Intel CEO. Caitlyn Jenner signs the paperwork and will run for governor of California. India breaks highest global daily COVID-19 case record for second day in a row. Republicans ask CDC to modify masking guidelines as tearful mom begs school board to take these masks off my child. Saudi Arabia bans Lebanese fruit and vegetables over drug smuggling. Tokyo Olympics chief hopes for swift return to normalcy as fears rise for games after Japan declares COVID emergency. Turkey's EU membership application should be torn up if Ankar's negative actions are not reversed, says the MEPs. A Dutch prosecutor general backs $57 billion Yukos gas empire settlement, recommending top court throw out Russian government appeal. Still on Friday, sorry. Blood-injecting beauty salon owner charged after clients allegedly catch HIV from vampire facials. That's, a little bit out there. PM's former top aide Cummings denies leaking Dyson texts, claims Johnson had possibly illegal plans to fund Downing Street refurb. Downing Street refurb. Something like that. Texas sues Biden administration for lifting health restrictions on illegal immigrants pouring in from the South. Ghislaine Maxwell pleads not guilty to new sex trafficking charges in New York court. YouTube blocks videos and hands strikes to RT's English and German channels over alleged COVID-19 disinformation. Arizona judge halts election audit as Republicans make final play to uncover election fraud. Oops. Washington refuses to say when it will lift U.S. ban on export of vaccine materials despite India's plea amid record COVID-19 cases. Still on Friday. Let's see. Bully cop mistakes autistic boy for a criminal and beats the hell out of him. It's a pretty crazy article. Sorry, I was itching. Virginia to revamp math curriculum. Hang on. Okay. Virginia to revamp math curriculum, cancel advanced courses prior to last 2 years of high school to force racial equality. However, yeah. Let's see. A survey, vaccine hesitancy, keeping vaccination numbers down in Missouri? You don't say. CDC, FDA give green light to Johnson & Johnson jab rollout after pause while investigating death from rare blood clot after vaccination. Know Your Customer Indeed banks deploy AI systems to monitor customers and employees alike. It's always good news. Still on Friday, California Governor Newsom facing recall election and vows to stop issuing fracking permits by 2024 and phase out oil extraction. Even after popular guilty verdict, judge seals names of Derek Chauvin jurors to protect them from harassment. Okay, now we're to yesterday's news. Yay! A Michigan man wins $2 million on scratch-off after losing everything in a flood. I thought that was pretty awesome. Not that he lost everything in the flood, but that he won that money. A woman charged with felony for not returning VHS tape 21 years ago in Oklahoma. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. I hope none of you have any charges left out there for not rewinding your VHS tapes. So, Blockbuster is going to come looking for you. Nurse launches petition to opt out of mandatory COVID-19 vaccination at Texas hospital as it vows to fire those who refuse the jab. They want to burn it and intimidate. They want to burn and intimidate. Portland Mayor Wheeler calls on public to help unmask violent anarchist protesters. New malaria vaccine shows 77% efficacy in trial, becoming the first to surpass the WHO target. Supply deficit sends palladium price to historic high. Let's see. Collective West is living in fantasy land, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman tells RT amid new wave of anti-Moscow hysteria. Russia unveils memorial plaques to Kim Jong-un and Father Kim Jong-il in commemoration of North Korean leaders' visits to the country. Democracy is not Coca-Cola. Beijing says U.S. shouldn't assume that representative government tastes the same all over the world. So, again, this is yesterday's news. 122 foreigners banned by Russian officials from entering the country for 40 years after attending unauthorized protests in the capital. Global consumers squirreled away over $5 trillion in savings during COVID pandemic, says Moody's. A top miner Alrosa to sell Russia's largest cut diamond as demand for gems back on sparkling form. Let's see. A bunch of people will probably die, Musk says, of future Mars tourism, but it's a glorious adventure. I suppose it is if you're not the one dying. France has been attacked again. Top officials vow to keep fighting terrorism after policewoman's murder by suspected Islamist. Let's see. Appalling injustice overturned as UK court clears names of post office workers wrongfully convicted due to faulty software. Eyebrows raised as pregnant people green-lighted by U.S. government to get COVID vaccine shots. God of Fire meets God of War. China reveals first Mars rover name on country's National Space Day. Russia may restrict Czech imports, including beer, amid simmering diplomatic rows, says the media. Indonesian submarine that went missing during military drills with 53 on board confirmed sunk, says the Navy. Again, this is yesterday's headlines. Ivy League universities accused of desecration after using bones of black children killed by police in anthropology course. Thousands of anti-lockdown protesters take over central London. Let's see. French medics inject 140 patients with normal saline instead of Pfizer vaccine by mistake. Turkey's crypto mayhem, the Bitcoin exchange faces probe and becomes second platform to go down in days. Drone attack leaves tanker ablaze off of Syrian coast, says reports. Joe Biden recognizes Armenian genocide in a statement released by the White House. And this is yesterday's news. Russian embassy trolls Baltic states over expulsion of diplomats. Defenseless 61-year-old Asian man repeatedly stomped on the head in latest New York City attack caught on video. Dozens reported dead and injured after explosion sparks fire in Iraqi COVID-19 hospital. Kamala Harris may be AWOL as borders are, but her children's book is included in welcome kits being given to illegal alien kids. And it makes me wonder, were those books all paid for? And by whom were those books all paid for to be given? Because might be, I don't know. A little tad bit of conflict of interest going on there, but just saying. Just saying. After finding a Christmas wish list tied to a balloon, this man drove hundreds of miles to make two little girls' dreams come true. Pretty good article that I had shared out. Hindering peace and stability, Ankara summons U.S. envoy as it fumes over Biden recognizing Armenian genocide. Okay, this is from this morning that I put out. Australian mayor apologizes after council youth worker tells white male and Christian students they are oppressors, says the media. U.S. promises additional support for Indian COVID-19 crisis amid calls to release unused vaccine doses to the hardest-hit nations. A Spanish man arrested for infecting 22 people with COVID-19 after reportedly telling co-workers he would give them the virus. Russia plans to boost exports by around 25% this year, says reports. Coronavirus storm has shaken India, PM Modi says, as country registers nearly 350,000 COVID-19 cases in new global daily record. Comparing vaccine certificates to the Holocaust, anti-lockdown Brits spotted wearing yellow Star of David badges. Hang on, I gotta have a sip of coffee here. Can't believe I made it that far with that one. Alright, we're on the home stretch. Alright, Putin should refuse Biden's offer of a summit. Americans will bring only political theatrics and threats. Nothing will be achieved. Volkswagen expects global chip shortage to further hit output with no chance to recoup existing losses, says reports. China's Wuhan rises from COVID-19 fallout, boosting GDP by nearly 60%. Let's see. The power within. Scientists develop method to enhance body's own painkillers in major breakthrough. No evidence of Russian intelligence involvement in ammo depot blast, Czech president says amid spy scandal with Moscow. It was like pressing pause. Group of 15 volunteers emerges from 40-day isolation experiment in a cave. Alabama bans biological males from playing on female school sports team. You can watch the moment the oxygen tank explodes in Baghdad COVID-19 hospital, triggering fire that killed at least 82 and injuring over 100. Ballooning commodity prices are about to hit consumers in a big way. Interesting article there. Biden scores majority approval after 100 days, but the numbers don't add up. No kidding. MI6 is green spying on China and other nations to ensure they keep their climate change promises, the agency chief reveals. U.S. is on Russia's list of unfriendly countries currently being drafted, the foreign ministry says the foreign ministry spokeswoman. Marine biologists identify new species of Dumbo octopus that lives 7,000 meters below sea level. We don't know who did it, but Israel will be taught a lesson, says the Iranian army chief warns after the oil tanker attack. So, we'll see. Sputnik 5 comes out on top as Hungary responds to critics of vaccine program by posting positive results for its 5 offered jabs. A hit piece on Republican Senators' cotton-picking ancestors backfires for Washington Post, but Team Trump doesn't race to his aid. 200 Germans unsure if they got vaccinated or not after nurse confesses to swapping vial of Pfizer jab with normal saline. Insanity. Laws banning biological males from competing in female sports uphold white supremacy, says ex-Team USA women's soccer player. I don't know. Florida's Ron DeSantis says the Republican governor, whose Democrats love to hate, is now triggering leftists with the way he eats pizza. Okay, then. Let's see. Michigan lawmaker threatens to call governor, punish police for busting him after a drunken crash. I swear it's so ignorant anymore. And lastly, Peru's impeached ex-president accused of jumping vaccination queue says he's tested positive for COVID-19. So, that one just popped up. So anyway, there you go. There's your headlines. I'm making it a quick night, getting the heck out of here. Here's what it is. I cannot wait. Got a lot of stuff coming. Got a lot of stuff to do this week, even before the shed gets here. So keep your eyes peeled. So anyway, I am going to get out of here. I hope you all have a good night. God willing, we'll see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.